This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System taking place at the IELTS Workshop. Good afternoon, my name is Phường. Could you tell me your full name, please?
My full name is LịCH and you can call me An.
Right. In the first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. So let's talk about where you live. Which town or city do you live in?
I'm currently living in Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam, and this is also where I was born and raised.
Are there any things you don't like about your area?
Yeah, okay. Talking about things I'm not satisfied with, there are like tons, like Hanoi is the capital city, right? So it's really populous. The population there is increasingly like growing, and it leads to like tons of problems like traffic congestion or the unorganized urban planning. Yeah, and also pollution as well, right? So I don't really like the hustle and bustle of my city.
Do you think you will continue to live there for a long time?
Although there are like some things that I don't really like, as I said before, I still think that I would reside in Hanoi like for a long time in the future. Basically because my family is living here, and Hanoi is my hometown as well, and there are tons of job opportunities there for me. Yeah, so...
Right. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
To be honest with you, I have two houses. My parents live in a house, and they also have an apartment as well. And the house is for renting now. Yeah, for some reasons, we don't live in the house anymore. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about computer and tablets. What do you often use a computer or tablet for?
I use both, and I'm having a MacBook and an iPad using for my working and studying purpose. I store all my documents there, and I use my tablet for writing as well. I don't take notes in papers anymore, and I like transferring to using digital devices like my iPad.
Can you remember when you first started using a computer or tablets?
I have used laptop for a while since I was a child, so I don't really remember. Yeah, but talking about tablet, I first adopted it last year, like since I went to university, and I changed my note-taking habit from the traditional papers into digital gadgets, and I feel really convenient.
Do you sometimes find computers or tablets difficult to use?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't find using tech devices quite difficult and challenging. As I said before, I'm quite savvy in it. However, when I changed from laptop into MacBook, a product of Apple, using a separate and distinct operating system, yeah, I found it quite struggling. But after a short time, looking for the a tutorial, yeah, I got into it, and I knew what it takes, and it turned out to be easier for me.
Thank you. Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to plan what you are going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there's your paper and pencil, and this is your topic. So I'd like you to describe a person you know who shows their feelings openly. Okay, now you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. So could you please start talking now?
Okay, so talking about a person who opened his feelings openly, I would say it's none other than my boyfriend. He is the same age with me, and he was born and raised in the Netherlands. We first met each other on Instagram. At that time, I ran into him and followed him. Yeah, I didn't remember vividly why, but yeah. After that, we started a chat, and no sooner we got on well, and then we turned into best friend, and then started a romantic relationship as now, right? So talking about his characteristics, I would say first, he is knowledgeable, right? And he's also very caring and loving for me. And he's also very confident as well. So that's why I think he can easily express his emotions and feelings and opinions. At that time, I remember that I was quite unconfident because I felt like I lack a lot of factors to be successful, and I always look at others people. Yeah. And he was the person who encouraged me and pushed me forward. Like he always said, just be your true self and just be faithful towards yourself and love everything that you have, and then people would have you too. Okay,
thank you. Now, you've been telling me about a person who is open about their feelings. In the final 5 minutes of the test, I'd like to ask you some more general questions that are related to this. In what different ways do people show feelings?
Okay, there are several ways that people express their feelings, how they feel towards each other. But I would say it depends on the person who they would share the feeling with. Maybe I think people would easily and naturally shows their true feelings with best friends or people who are close, right? But I think they would tell directly how they feel, and maybe if they feel dissatisfied or angry for some reason, they would maybe text or share something not very directly, not to upset the partner or the people, maybe.
Okay, do children show their feelings more than adults?
I agree somehow that children would tend to show their feelings true more and openly than adults. Children don't care about the consequences, or they are just careless, carefree, and they just think that why to hide the feelings if they can talk out loud, right? Speak out loud. But for adults, they would be careful because they are afraid of some consequences related to the relationships, the connections, right, between people and people, right? And maybe they would not direct.
Okay, do men and women show their feelings in different ways?
Yeah, that's a very tricky question, I would say. In normal life, I think there is a gender equity, so there is no much distinct difference between how men and women shows their feelings. Maybe, I think it matters more the context or the situations, right, and the people who share the feelings with, rather than the gender
And last question, do people express their emotions more openly now than in the past?
That's quite intriguing. I think now people would find it more easily to show the direct and true feelings, especially in social media where they can be anonymous and they can hide after the label of equity and speech freedom. Yeah. But of course it would lead to some negative side effect, people would say toxic about some problems, or they would state some misinformed or misleading opinions, especially in some Western countries like the US, or even in Vietnam. There's still some cases like that.
Okay, thank you. That is the end of the speaking test. Okay, good job. And here I got some feedbacks for you. First of all, regarding your strength, I think that you managed to maintain a really good flow of speech that really improved your fluency. And occasionally, you did repeat some of your previous point that you made, but overall, still pretty fluent. And secondly, regarding your vocabulary, you managed to use a sufficient amount in order to express your point of view, to answer the questions. And grammar, you use a mix of both symbols and complex structures. And I think your biggest strength is your pronunciations, American English, right? There's a couple of errors here and there, like for example, the word stress, but overall you could be effortlessly be understood throughout. In terms of a couple of suggestions to improve, I think that you can try to paraphrase the question more often. First of all, regarding the question, do you think you will continue to live there for a long time? You can say that you might plan to continue to reside in my current locations for a foreseeable future, to replace the phrase. And instead of writing down, you could also say write in longhand, I think, for a mixture. Generally, I think that you were able to use less common and idiomatic items like indispensable, tech-savvy, or traffic congestions. And I think that if you manage to do that throughout your test, that would be great. Okay. When talking about a past event, in most of the sentences, you use the past simple, right? But a couple of verbs, I think that you did not conjugate it correctly. So be mindful of that. And I saw that you use a lot of the word like. That's really American teenager of you. I think that there are more effective connective devices to make your speech sounds more natural and make it coherent at the same time. Like for example, you can use such as to make examples, or namely to be more specific with your answers. Yeah, that's it.